Welcome back to Face the State. I'm Ariana Bennett. Thank you for staying with us. Well, I'm back with Washoe County Manager John Slaughter now. Once again, John, thank you for being on the show.
Pleasure.
Okay, so the Nevada legislature is convening just after the beginning of 2017, and I understand Washoe County is going to be asking for something specific. You want to explain what you're asking?
We do. We have a specific question that we would like to ask, and that is regarding regional planning. We believe after almost 30 years of the legislation that created and gave our guidance for regional planning in the Truckee Meadows, we believe it's a time to look at that. There's all kinds of things happening in the area of growth. So do we have the best structure that we need for regional planning for now and well into the future?
Now, when you say regional planning, is that jurisdictional, like boundaries between cities and counties? Is it where development can happen? Who gets to green light it? I mean, can you kind of explain what that means?
It's kind of all the above. And we're focusing really on the Truckee Meadows Regional Plan, which is City of Reno, City of Sparks, unincorporated portions of Washoe County outside of Lake Tahoe and the far reaches of Washoe County. So really looking at things like how are we best situated in where growth will occur. Is the legislation, is it giving us the best guidance for that? There's questions about governance on regional planning, and the City of Reno, City of Sparks, Washoe County are all represented, but are we equally represented in some of those decisions that are made? There's in our regional plan, there are growth boundaries. It's called something else. It's called a Truckee Meadows service area boundary, but is it always the best boundary, always the best shape, location that we're growing in? So we really want to just take a look at those issues, and again, with all the things that have happened over the last several years, we've been almost 30 years now. If we make any changes now, those will be for the next 30 years. So we just want to make sure that we've got the guidance that we need.
So in what areas would you say you're limited? How would you like to see it change?
So we've been asked in many cases by firms looking at our area, and sometimes they say, we don't want to be in a city. We would rather maybe be this particular type of use that we're going to bring to your area. It might be best for us to have that use out in the county, out in the unincorporated area. And we are limited now with the Truckee Meadows Regional Plan kind of limits where growth can occur, and it really, and rightfully so in some cases, guides growth into the cities. But in some cases, is that really the best for how we want to develop?
So would that mean giving a little bit more power to the county? Well,
I don't know if we necessarily call it power, but equal kind of decision making on some of those things. There are times when the County Commission has felt that perhaps their voice wasn't heard at the regional level, and so just want to have a discussion with the community, with the region, with our partners, stakeholders about how we set up for regional planning, and is it the right thing?
Do you anticipate any pushback from the cities on this?
Oh, of course we do. The cities. It's a discussion that's occurred for 30 plus years. That's this discussion we got into when Truckee Meadows Regional Planning was first mandated by the state legislature. It's always a very good discussion. It's always something that we talk quite often. I've talked quite a bit with the management in the cities, both cities. I've shared the legislation ideas with them. So as we move forward, we're looking forward to a great discussion.
How would you characterize the relationship between the county and the cities? I know it's been strained in the past.
It has been strained in the past. I would say at my level, great relationships, staff level work really well together, and our elected officials also. I think just the things that are happening in the community, they really need to work together, and they really do work well. In this particular case, again, our thought is, it's been 30 years. Are we the same community we were 30 years ago? And the guidance that we get from our statutes on regional planning, just take a look at it and see if there's something that needs to be changed. If not, then we're not. I know the regional plan is due for an update on its own over this next year. We're real anxious to get into this discussion.
Okay, now does all this growth kind of tie in with the federal public lands bill that you talked about?
It does. So federal public lands bill in Nevada will be, I think, the 9th county who has with a federal public lands bill. And the idea really is to identify areas that are in federal ownership that might be better in private ownership, and at the same time identify areas that should be protected in some way through wilderness protections or other types of protections. So it's kind of a balance between areas that could be developed and areas that aren't currently preserved but could be preserved for wilderness areas. So the idea then is in the southern portions of the county, look for areas that are currently federally owned, but for example, City of Sparks has an area east of them that they've identified that they would like for an industrial park. It's federally owned. The Public Lands Bill would allow that to then go into private ownership. It would be sold. The proceeds of that would be shared within the region, could be used for conservation efforts, wildfire mitigation efforts, conservation efforts, and the land turned over to private ownership and then developed for industrial uses or commercial uses.
What's the timeline on that?
So Washington is Washington.
Yeah.
So we're hoping within the next year that we'll have this concluded.
Okay, well, we just have a couple minutes left, but I do want to talk about the budget. I know that it's been a positive year, but you're only increasing spending by 1%. Why is that?
Well, again, the county has had traditionally a very conservative approach to spending. This reflects that. One of the things that we were able to do this last year, we took a very hard look at our existing programs, existing resources, and reprioritized. So we're adding 61 positions to our staff this year, but that only represents very little new money because we were able to reprioritize, ask the hard questions about are these programs or these resources the things that we really need to be doing. If we want new positions, would we be better shuffling some things around? So really, that 1% increase in spending is just, again, a part of our approach of being very fiscally conservative.
Okay, we've got about a minute left. What is your message to the public? What's their takeaway?
So I think, and I talked about this during the State of the County, Washoe County employees are every day working to provide a safe, healthy community. They are very dedicated. I'm always just very proud of our employees and the things that they do on a daily basis. Many times people don't realize that it's a county program or county service, and our employees are out there doing that every day.
Yeah, it's a huge variety of things the county is responsible for. All right, John, thank you so much for your time. I sure appreciate you having you on the show.
Thank you.
All righty, that is it for this episode of Face the State. But for more information on all of this or to see past episodes, just head to our website. That's ktvn.com. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you next week.